Hi guys, welcome back to talking about the gift of the Magi. In this exercise, we're talking about the elements of plot. So you're going to be making a plot tree. Now in this particular exercise, I accidentally made a boo-boo when I was creating your copies, so you have to listen carefully to what you need to do. All right, with yours, now yours does not have the red are my answers, so I'm not going to show this too closely. With yours, I accidentally put this on the back of something, so you cannot cut out the star and the tree trunk, all right? So let me explain what you'll do to that in just a minute. But you have flaps for this. So let me show you this picture. You have these flaps that you need to cut out. I accidentally, when I was copying, I was going crazy, okay? And I cannot remember how I copied it. So you'll have to look at it and try to make sense of what I'm saying. If you need to send me a picture before you cut things and say, Miss Ashley, which one am I supposed to cut? Let me know so you don't accidentally cut something that you're not supposed to. All right, so you have this. You cannot cut anything on this paper. Understand? Okay, nothing on this paper. Then you have the paper of your flaps that look like this, okay? These things. I have, I think, one set that's copied onto something. I can't remember, sorry guys. I either have 2 copies of the flaps or 2 copies of this tree. All right, if I have 2 copies of the tree, then you do the copy of the tree, you're gonna write on the copy of the tree that is not on the back side of the flaps, okay? If I have 2 copies of the flaps, it's the second copy of the flaps that you need to cut. Man, I'm sorry guys, I cannot remember what mistake I made on the flaps. So, I think you guys are big kids and can handle which one you're supposed to cut out. All right, you have to be able to write on this, cut out the flaps, and glue them on here. So, if you can figure out which ones you're supposed to cut so that you don't cut out the wrong thing, go for it. If you're not sure, send me a picture of the pages and I'll tell you, okay, cut this page, don't cut this page. Okay? So sorry, and I cannot believe that I forgot. I thought for sure I would remember which page I had accidentally copied where, and I don't. So anyway, all that to say, don't cut out the tree. What you do need to do is cut out the shape of a star on another piece of paper, okay, and write The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. Or just, sorry, let me start that again. Put a star on another piece of paper, write The Gift of the Magi, color the star any color that you want, but label it The Gift of the Magi, and you'll glue it to the top of this tree. Then you also need to cut out just a rectangular thing that says by O. Henry, and glue that to the bottom of the tree. Okay, since you're not going to be able to cut it out of this paper because I did copy this onto the back of something. So cut out a separate star, glue it here, over the directions is fine because you'll know your directions by now. Cut out a rectangle on another piece of paper and glue it down here to the bottom, and then you'll have your tree. Then you'll cut out your flaps and put them over the correct triangle after you've written inside the triangle. Let's talk about what you're supposed to write inside the triangle, inside the tree. Okay, look at the box where it says plot, pyramid, structure. Most fictional stories that you read have the same basic structure. The beginning of a story is called the exposition. This is where the characters are introduced, the setting is described, and any basic information is revealed. So that's the exposition, the first part. So it's the first part of the plot where character, setting, and basic situations are revealed. So what's going on is basically given in the exposition. Then we have the inciting incident sets the story in motion and makes the rest of the story possible. So that's like the very first thing that happens, that kind of is what starts everything rolling. And then whatever is rolling is called the rising action. The rising action moves the plot along as complications arise and conflicts become more intense. So the main part of the story that moves the plot along with complications, twists, and turns, that's your rising action. So it's everything that's happening, that's going on in the story. Until you reach the climax. So when the conflict reaches its most intense part, this is called the climax. The climax. So the climax is the most exciting or intense part of the story for the protagonist, that's the main character. Usually a turning point, the oh my goodness part of the story. So it's the most exciting, the most intense part is the climax. Then we have the falling action. Falling action. So the falling action, that's the excitement subsides, the story starts to wrap up. So events that follow the climax and move the conflicts towards their resolution. So right after the climax, everything is starting to wrap up the story until you get to the resolution. So in the resolution, this is the remaining questions are answered and conflicts are resolved as the story reaches its end. So we see loose ends of the plot are tied up, we see the remaining questions answered, and all the conflicts are resolved in the resolution. So you are going to create a plot tree for the gift of the Magi. You are going to start in this first square with the exposition. So write how the story begins. Remember, that's what the exposition is. It's the first part. So tell me the first part of the story, who the characters are, where the setting is, what's the basic idea of what's going on. Then here, going up the tree, so we have the rising action. So the next square is the rising action. Tell me the main part of the story, what's going on in the story. Then we reach the climax. So the most intense, exciting part of the story is up here at the top of the tree. Then the next piece is the falling action. So the falling action of the gift of the Magi, when everything's starting to come to a close. So right after the climax, what's the falling action? And then in the last box down, back at the bottom, we have the resolution. So all the loose ends are tied up, no more questions are left in the story, everything has been resolved. Okay? So then with each of your flaps, you're going to cut out the flap and glue it around the tree in the right spot, labeling this as your exposition, your rising action, your climax, your falling action, and your resolution. Okay? So that's what you're doing for your plot. I know it's a little confusing about which things you need to cut out, so again, let me know if you need help with that. Okay? Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your plot tree.